They grow up so fast. It seems like it was just a couple of weeks ago. We were all gathered here around the manger, and the baby was there, and we were singing Christmas carols to celebrate his nativity. But we have entered, when we come into this place, the strange world of biblical time, which is sometimes extended and sometimes compressed. And today, we are about 30 years removed from Christmas. Today, we are on the banks of the Jordan River, at that spot where long ago the people of Israel crossed over from the wilderness into the promised land. And we have come down to the Jordan today to witness the baptism of Jesus, and by extension, the baptism of Beatrix. You know, there's not a whole lot recorded in the Gospels about the early life of Jesus. Luke tells us about this episode in Jerusalem when he was 12, and he acted like a 12-year-old, kind of smarted off to his mom and dad. Matthew tells about the family seeking asylum in Egypt until King Herod the Great should disappear from the scene. The gospel writers don't tell us much about Jesus' early life. They focus on what's important. For instance, 26% of Matthew's 28 chapters are about the night before he died and the day he died on the cross. That's probably a clue. If they thought that was important, maybe we need to pay attention too. But that's for another day. The gospel writers do also tell us about Jesus' life and his ministry, and his baptism marks the beginning of all of that, the fulfillment of his purpose for coming into the world. That explains why today is a good day for a baptism. This is one of the 4 days that the prayer book commends as especially appropriate for a baptism. So from this day at the Jordan River, Jesus will go on to live into his purpose. Peter describes that purpose very well when he speaks at the home of Cornelius, the centurion. Peter says he went about doing good, healing the oppressed. That's a good purpose, don't you think? And our baptism into Christ gives us a good purpose. Peter, when he's speaking to Cornelius, points to our common purpose that we all share, and that is to bear witness to Christ, to proclaim his death and resurrection, to share the good news that in his name is found forgiveness, grace for anyone who believes. That is the great overarching purpose that all of us who have been baptized share. Now, that great purpose can be broken down into smaller pieces, chapters of life that come and go. They last for a time and a season, but contribute to the larger purpose. And Beatrix, even now, will have a purpose as a baptized child of God. She will share, first of all, with us in the great big purpose of being God's not-so-secret agents in this world God so loves. But she will also have smaller purposes that last for a time and a season. Beatrix's purpose now is to receive the love of her parents. To let her parents know a little bit about what it's like to be God, who pours out love constantly in an ever-flowing stream. From her parents, Beatrix will learn that in this world there are people who can and who do give love. Now, learning that some people seem to be wired in a quite opposite manner will come soon enough. For now, though, she gets to soak in the love of Josh and Mary. She gets to be the one, as Isaiah says, in whom their souls delight. She gets to share that special place with being the one in whom their souls delight with Desmond. Because there's something that happens to parents when they have more than one child. Maybe you've experienced this. When Shelby was on the way, I was kind of worried. I love Shelby so much. Is there going to be anything left? But what we find is that the love multiplies and that there's plenty to go around. And that's how it is with God. More children, more love. Now, as Beatrix grows, these new little purposes will come her way. New little purposes for a time and a season until they grow up so fast. And it will be time for her to strike out into life, to live into God's unique idea for how she will live into her big purpose. And that's what we parents sign up to do, to get them ready, to teach them to be faithful and to trust in God's love all the days of their lives. One day, Beth and I watched some parents come to that point in their lives. We lived in Louisiana for 9 years, and part of that time we were in the town of Zachary, where I served at St. Patrick's Church. And we had this really cool backyard that was heavily wooded, and it backed up onto a little creek. And a family of birds had taken up residence in our backyard. And the day came when it was time to get Junior to fly. It was a Saturday. And this project took most of the day. First of all, Dad would leave the perch and he would fly about saying, "Come, Junior, fly with me," until he got tired. And he would land back on the perch and it would be Mom's turn and she would fly out, "Come on, Junior, fly with me," until she got tired. They took turns doing this. And finally, Junior took the leap. He left the safe perch and started on his first flight. And how happy the three of them were, flapping about joyfully. It was something to behold. Now, that safe perch little Junior was so scared to leave, it was a garden shed. Are you ready for this? That I built. I built it with my own 2 hands and my own a little help from my Lowe's credit card. And I learned something of how to do that because when Beth came into my life and my father-in-law realized that he was going to have to put up with me, he found that sharing his incredible handyman skills with me to be one of the sub-purposes of his life's larger purpose. And anything that I do that can be considered in the least bit handy is because of him. And I am so grateful that Jim Brown took me under wing. All of us, from little Beatrix all the way to the most senior member of our family of faith, we all have a purpose. Our purpose we find at the foot of the cross, where we see such great love. We find it also, though, as we peer into the empty tomb where death is swallowed up in victory. Where is your sting, O death? Death is swallowed up in victory because of Jesus' victory. Death is swallowed up in victory in life. Our purpose is to receive the love. There's no greater love. To embrace the life. There is no more abundant life you can find anywhere. And then to share the love and the life that come to us from the Father, whose powerful voice became flesh in Jesus our Lord, and by whose Spirit we are led home to the blessing of peace. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.